Engage fluo injectors.
Engaging fluo injectors.
Fluo reactors at 80%, sir.
Fluo containment field is destabilizing.
Emergency fluo containment protocols now. All hands brace for impact.
Brace for impact in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to World 101 Podcast.
Choose your fighter.
I'm your host, Eddie V, this episode, and I'm sitting in some of my t-shirt and boxers because I've been off of work today and I just felt lazy of getting dressed. Joining me is Mr. Josh LeGroux.
Hello.
And Sir Mike.
Howdy, yo.
Yes, the crew wasn't able to make it, but we are coming together to give you guys a fun-filled podcast. We're going to be talking about what we've been playing, and got a really good question I want to ask these guys in our next section because I think it's going to be a good one to have. But before we get into that,
oh my gosh!
Video games.
I'm gonna start with you, Josh. What you been playing?
Okay, so today I started up again Hellblade because I never finished that game. So I started that up and I got about halfway through it because it's not that long of a game. I got about halfway through that. I realized how good of a game that was, especially when you play with headphones. And Larry's been streaming that. Here's a shameless plug. Larry's been streaming that on our Twitch channel too. So if you guys haven't seen that game and you want to see it, it's also on Game Pass. So if you have an Xbox, it's free to download for you if you have Game Pass.
I own it on 2 systems.
Yeah, I know. I have the disc. I have the disc of PS4. I just haven't played it on that. And I've been playing Kunai on Switch, kind of going on and off with that. I kind of got to this point in that game where I need to take a little break because I got to the crypto mines. I don't know if you guys have been playing that game or not yet.
I played a little bit, but I put it to the side too.
Okay, I got about, I think I'm about a third of the way through. Just the way the arc of the game is kind of working. I finally have I think I have all the abilities except one, which I'm trying to get now. And after that, I think that's about halfway after that kind of area. But the game is fun. It's challenging, not too challenging. The most challenging thing about that game is where to go. The map is kind of vague sometimes, and so it's kind of it's a Metroidvania style adventure game, kind of. It's really weird. It's kind of it's cool though. I am enjoying it. So I think Larry was saying that we're going to get maybe somebody on, a developer on about that because there was a big kind of controversy online about it.
Oh, what is downvoting or whatever?
Yeah, there was like one person that downvoted on Metacritic to get like a negative review, and it went like tank the review score on it because there was so little review scores already. So, and I have also been dabbling in Jedi Fallen Order still. I cannot believe I cannot end this game.
I'm still waiting for a good sale to pick it up. Like people just like, Eddie, just wait. Yeah, I already got too much on my plate, but just wait to pick the game up. But go ahead, Josh.
No, this is like my first like real Souls game that I played, and I really suck at these games. So it's taken me a long time. I'm dying a lot. The boss battles are absolutely unforgiving. And I actually was stuck for 2 days on one battle. And I was like 4 hours each. I'm like, you know what? I got to put this down for a while.
That sentence is exactly why I don't play the Souls games.
Now, there is a mode, and to be fair, there's a mode in that game that says that for the level of difficulty, it just says story. And basically, it's super forgiving in the combat, and you're just playing it for the story. So you can kind of hack and slash, I think. I'm like one notch above that. And I really contemplated putting it down, notching it down. But I'm like, I'm going to keep doing it because I'm almost there. And I want to say I beat some kind of a Souls game at some point, But I got to, so I've got to kind of get into that a little more again. But that's really all I'm playing. Those three.
Oh, Awesome. Yes. Yeah, Kanai I put to the side. Because I got to one part and I was just like, I'm gonna come back to this. I'm gonna work on it and finish it. But I'll get into what I've been playing a little bit. But Michael, what have you been playing?
Just Darksiders Genesis still. I finished the main campaign. I finished it on the normal difficulty. So I kind of went back and started tinkering with the apocalyptic difficulty.
Ooh.
And, well, because I've beaten all the other ones on apocalyptic, like including the third one, which was similar to the Dark Souls type story, series.
Is that's the hardest difficulty, right? Is it
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And this one, there's something, like, I feel like I'm not doing something right. Because even my most damaging attacks are just doing chip damage.
Right.
And it's just, like, so it's really tedious, like, because I have to keep switching back and forth between them. Excuse me. Wait in with War until he takes enough damage that he's about to die. So then I switch to Strife, and it's literally just circle the enemy shooting at them. And, you know, each group of enemies, that lasts for 2 to 4 minutes, and it gets really tedious. I've only beaten the first stage on Apocalyptic so far.
Okay.
And
I think that's kind of might be bad level design, because that seems like they're just upping the difficulty, or basically making the bosses bullet sponges.
It's possible, but it also might have something to do with the creature core system. I really haven't tinkered with it a whole lot, and after getting through that stage, I was like, okay, I'm going to revamp my whole loadout and see how that works. And I spent 2 hours fiddling with that garbage, but I haven't actually gone back into the game yet.
Okay.
So I'm going to see how that works. And I may look up some stuff online and see if, like, what I'm doing wrong here. There's also the part of me that's thinking, like, because as I said, I've 100% of the game on my PS4, on the rest of the series on PS4. And the one I'm currently playing is Switch for Genesis. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of thinking maybe just for completion's sake, I should go and start the PS4 one. But at the same time, like, I'm so far ahead already.
Do you think Darksiders 3 is going to get announced for the next direct? Yeah, for Switch. Like, it's time.
I would assume. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't, to be honest. Because I did actually look it up, because I realized it's the only one I didn't have for the system. Mm-hmm. I'm actually really wanting to go back through the Darksiders 1 on the Switch. Because I want to know if the cutscenes are fucked up still.
Oh,
the War Mastered Edition, the sync was out of sync at like about halfway through the game. The cutscenes get really out of sync and it gets really bad. I want to know if the Switch version fixed that or not.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because when you said talking about 100% in it, I'm just like, man, I think I really want 100% the first Darksiders, because I beat the game, but I didn't get everything to it, and I'm just like, what did I do wrong to not get everything? I'm like, I've been.
No, there's some grinding involved if you want 100%, like all the trophies. There's actually one trophy in that game I've never been able to get. It's that part on that fucking angelic mount where it's a rail shooter basically. And you have to, the trophy unlocks when you kill over 160 enemies in that part, and I've never been able to do it. Like, I'm really bad at shooters, so I'm blaming it on that. But like, I'm just, I had one file right before that part that I literally would just keep trying every so often, and eventually I got so fed up with it, I was like, fuck it, I don't care that much.
Right.
But like, because Darksiders 2 and 3 have 100% of both, though. Actually, Darksiders 2 fucked me over sideways at one point.
2 is the only one that I need to beat in this whole series. Like, I have it on PS4, and I have it on Wii U also, but I really need to focus on PS4 because I'm a little further on that version. I really want to beat that game.
My biggest complaint about that one is the loot system really takes me out of the game. Because every time you pick up something new, you gotta stop and check the stats, and on average, every new item you has 8 different stats out of a potential of like 12 or 20 or whatever.
Right.
And it gets so tedious. I will say this though, if you really want to make the game simpler on yourself to 100% it, go the Necromancer tree. Go the Necromancy tree with the what's it called? And for your loadout, you want stuff like Arcane Crit, and your Execution chance. Because once you go the Necromancy route, literally all you have to do is summon your ghouls, summon your flock of seagulls, your flock of crows, and then sit back and shoot your gun, and it'll refill your energy as soon as they get killed. You do it again, because the Harbinger tree is, like, as I said, at early game it makes it way easier, but by the end of the game it's very brutal. Like with the Harbinger, I actually can't get through the arena.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Second one is the only one I've only played the first one.
Yeah.
So I mean, I kind of am debating, should I skip the second one, just go right to the third one? I mean, I'm not really into the story that much. I'm just like,
I'm gonna tell you now, the third one plays like a Souls game.
Okay.
So, like, honestly, like, gameplay-wise, I actually enjoyed the second one a little bit more than the third one. I still think the first one is hands down my favorite out of all of them.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, because as I said, like, each game is very much, like, the first game is God of War meets Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
Second game is God of War meets kind of the MMO aspect, like...
Right.
Third one was a Souls game, and then the new one was Diablo.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That they're each kind of their own whole different concept.
Which I actually think, that's
think
cool. It's a really neat concept. I actually really enjoy it. Because it kind of keeps it fresh, but at the same time, like, they're trying new things, and certain aspects just don't work with each one. Like, as I said, Fury in the third game, it plays like a Souls game, but it's a very watered down Souls game.
Right.
Yes.
As I said, Death is the only one so far in the entire game series that doesn't have a double jump. And because you're so used to, in these kind of games, the action games, having a double jump, it feels weird not having it.
Sure.
And like his whole mechanic is the ability to run along walls and climb walls and stuff like that, but he can't climb everything. He can climb very specific things. So that kind of takes me out of the experience as well.
That's fair.
Yeah. Which also it bothers me because in what's it called? Like in Genesis, War and Strife can do some of the wall run stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so which was, as I said, supposed to be Death's whole shtick.
Right.
Although I will admit, my favorite thing about, like, out of all the Horsemen, like, Death's voice is my favorite. So they got Michael. Yeah, they got Michael Wincott to play him. He played Top Dollar in The Crow, the first Crow movie.
Yep.
And his voice was perfect for it. Like, he had a single line in the third game, and I was very upset that it wasn't him.
It's very weird. I kind of wish that Death was the first. I wish Darksiders 2 was the first game, because there's something about the character art for Death and like his movements and just something about him. Be like, man, you just work as a main character. Where War and Strife, they bounce off each other. Yeah. And then Fury, so for some reason Fury feels like a love interest, but she would still kick tail.
Have you played through the whole third one yet?
Yeah, I beat it.
Yeah, she actually has the best story arc so far.
Yes, that I agree. Yes,
there's actually a reason though that War had to be first, because the story, he sets up all of it so far. Like him being framed as he was is what set up everything across the board. Obviously Genesis doesn't count since it's a prequel, but
it's if you think of it like an old school beat 'em up, like Final Fight, for instance, War is Cody, Fury is Hagar, and Death is Guy.
I could see that. I could
And
see
then Strife, if there was another character who could balance it out, he would be someone who's versatile in a sense, but it's hard to like really put him. He's kind of like I want to say maybe like the Michelangelo of the group. So if you look at Turtles, Wars Leonardo,
what you're saying is right now I want to see a walkthrough beat 'em up where they just take characters from all the walkthrough beat 'em ups from when we were kids and put them all together. Ninja Turtles, Streets of Rage, Final Fight, fucking Peacekeepers. I want to see this.
Why
I
not?
miss those kind of games.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Like I said, like the last one I played was the Scott Pilgrim game, which was fucking fantastic. But
Yeah, everybody's mad that one game would never come back, and I think it's due to the licensing.
yeah, it is. I still have it actually on my PS3. Like it's pretty much the only way you can get it at this point.
Yeah, I think it is.
And it was a well done game. It's a lot of fun with more people. Like
Oh yeah,
although
all
like,
those games were.
all those games were
Yeah.
Like, that's why Castle Crashers is still amazing because
Yeah, even on Switch, I heard it's good.
I haven't actually I bought it on Switch but haven't played it yet.
Yeah, I have it on Xbox One, but I think I need to buy it on Switch also.
Yeah, 'cause why not? It's the ultimate party system.
Yeah,
You just bring it with you anywhere.
I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah.
Like, I just bought it because, as I said, I never turned my Xbox on. So
I know. I've just been using my Xbox for the first time in a long while because I've been a lot on the Switch lately. So
with Ori coming out soon, I actually need to.
I know.
I need to upgrade it. I know it needs
turn it
due for
on,
an
at
update.
least.
Yeah.
Turn it on.
So I'm gonna get into the $100 collection from GameStop. It's supposed to be getting the mail to me for Ori and the Will of the Wisp. GameStop had a lot of them online to order, and I'm just like, pre-order.
It's $100 or is it the $50?
It's 100.
Okay.
Because
So hopefully you get it.
I don't remember which version of it I bought.
I bought the $50 collector's version
I
or
think
whatever.
that's the one I got too.
I think I got mine from Amazon, but you can get it from GameStop or Best Buy. They all have them now.
I
Yeah.
think I got mine from Best Buy actually.
Yeah, because I know this Friday, I'm picking up Pokemon Rescue, or it's gonna come in the mail. Doom Eternal in
3/20/20, right?
Yeah, Doom. Yeah. Animal Crossing and Doom Eternal is on the 20th. I'm picking that up. Tomorrow, I'm getting. I think I'm gonna go ahead and pick up, or just like purchase actually tonight. Murder by Numbers on Switch. It's like an indie game. It's a mix of Phoenix Wright and Picross together. And the artwork looks really, really cool. And there's no reviews out for it yet, but it's just been hovering in my mind. Be like, this game looks so interesting. So, and I think I'm gonna jump in and just go ahead and get it. So whether it's good or not, this will be like, yeah, I'll have it. And it'll be my first Picross game. I've never played a Picross game, man.
I haven't either. So.
I've never even heard of them.
They're very big on Nintendo handhelds.
Yes.
Sorry about that, everybody.
Yeah, we're all kind of fighting stuff, I think.
Yeah. Pierce started from IGN. He's a big Picross fan, and so I really can't wait for what people say when the game comes out. It's one that I'm looking forward to. But Michael, that's all you've been playing?
Yeah, like that. I'm still playing. What is that? Fucking Hero Wars, but I still hate it. I do it fucking daily, and I can't stand it.
That's a mobile game, right?
Yeah, like it's one of those mobile games that's designed to try and milk money out of you.
Sure.
And like I generally don't throw money at it, but I just for some reason I'm mildly addicted to just doing it every day. But as I'm doing it, I fucking hate myself for doing it. So
you're like, damn it.
Yeah.
Gotta do this though.
I'm so surprised that you didn't pick up Daemon X Machina for Switch.
I don't know anything about it, but there's
a demo for it still.
Is there?
You can get free.
It's a free demo out there. Like it's It's
Mech combat.
anime. Yeah, it's from the creators. One of the creators used to work on Fire Emblem, Armored Core, just like all these famous Japanese directors and artists who have done work in mech games, and it's just like ever since. And then it got average reviews and stuff, but I'm just like, I know a person who who loves Transformers and a lot of mech stuff. I want to see like I want to see your color customization, because you could customize your mech on how they look and their weapons and stuff. You can even customize your character, and I want to see what you go with, because you have a great eye for design when it comes to mech, and I would be like, okay, I need to know your color.
Did you ever play on the PS3? There was a what was it? There was a digital only title called Eat Them. Did you ever hear of this?
I heard of it. I didn't buy it.
Oh my god, it was so good. Literally what you do is you build your kaiju and then fuck up a city. That was the game. And like you gain more power by you gain more power by eating people. You just smash shit. It was very undercooked because it needed a lot more to it. Because the story was very comic booky, but it was a very fun game for the $10 I spent on it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I always wanted to see them, like, if they do more to it, like, but nothing ever came of it because I'm pretty sure I'm the only person on the planet that bought it.
Well, Platinum Games is doing a kanji kind of game. It's a third game in the series. They're doing like an Ultraman style game. Yeah, they got a trailer out. That was their announcement last Tuesday, I think. It doesn't because they worked on Beautiful Joe and Wonderful 101.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I haven't watched the trailer yet, but I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, I liked Beautiful Joe. I just wasn't good at it, so I got frustrated and put it down.
It's one of those games where like you had to get that rhythm going.
Yeah.
The rhythm and then the comboing of the punches and everything together. I love that game, but I wasn't good at it either. I loved it though.
Well, I bought it specifically because you could play as Dante in it. Like in
you got the PS2.
That's the entire reason I bought it, and I loved how weird it was. It was because it wasn't Clover. Was that Clover?
Yeah, it's Clover.
Yeah. I mean, between that and what the fuck was it?
Okami?
Yeah, I knew it started with an O. Like, as I said, like, those two games were phenomenal. Like,
yeah, and that's why I was just like, when Capcom shut Clover down and Platinum, they all left and became Platinum Games, and I was just like, okay, yeah, I see what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
But sorry for interrupting you.
No, that's all. That's good. Still playing Tokyo Mirage Session. I'm at a part. I think I'm getting closer to the end. Because I'm at a part where I got to go to different parts of the map and get some things. So I'm just like, oh, this feels like this is getting close to the end. Play some more Chasm. Like another Metroidvania thing. I'm getting a little bit further, making progress. Started up Bloodstain, Ritual of the Night on Switch.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah. Getting through that game, just making progress. I was just thinking, I'm like, man, I got about 4 Metroidvania style games on my system, and I need to make progress on them. Well, actually 5 or 6. Because Guacamelee 2, I made progress.
Those are Metroidvanias?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Well, Bloodstain is, Chasm is.
Well, I know Bloodstained is because I've got that one.
Yeah. Could not, without having the Vania thrown in, Kunai and Guacamelee 2, those are more Metroid style games. Because I got and man, Guacamelee 2 is so good. Like they added so much in the kitchen sink, and I'm just like, I love this game, but I don't know why. I put it down from time to time because I'm like, I gotta break myself away from this because this is getting too much. I'm enjoying it, and I need to play some other stuff.
It's all you play. You're like, this is all I'm playing.
Yeah,
That's how I play games, though.
That's how I am too.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know how you do it. I can't jump from game to game like that.
The
or I
only
lose where I am.
the only reason I started jumping from Jedi Fallen Order to something else and then back is because I needed the break from Jedi, because I was getting to the point where I'm like, if I put this down, and I'm actually make it like a point to play something else off my Xbox, because I'm like, if I jump to something else on my Xbox, I may not come back to this. I might be one of those games where I'm like 3/4 of the way through and I'm just done, because I'm getting a little frustrated with it. So that's why I do that. But I usually don't either. I'm just like that. I'll play one game until I'm done with it, and then I go to the next game.
yeah, cause sometimes I break away because, like you said, Josh, just needing a break and just like I need to rotate and change up these games. Because I tell people, I'm like, I play 6 to 10 games per week, so I'm trying to make progress in different games. And so when I actually get to the end of that game, bam, it's done. Go to the next game, bam, it's done. Go to the next game, bam, it's done and stuff. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I'm doing on Switch. On PS4, play more of Knack on the first one. I think I'm getting closer to the end.
How do you like that? How do you like that game?
I still prefer the second game over the first.
Sure.
It's fine, but once again, Sony keeps dragging. Sony keeps allowing their developers to drag games on when it should be over with. Like, I understand they're trying to do like a lot of stages for a game, but it's just like, how about you do 2 stages and move on? Or how about you just do one whole level? Let me collect what I need to collect and move on. Give me 10 or 11 stages and let's call it quits. Because I think they're trying to go sorry about that. I think they're trying to go like for 12 or 15, 16 some levels. And I'm just like, when you guys do this, you really are dragging this game along. And it's just...
Yeah, I think Knack, just because it was a launch game, I think it suffers a lot from that. Like, it sold really well because launch games sell well, because people are looking for games to play on their system.
Nothing else to play.
Yeah, so they just want to play a game. But I'm in the same boat with you, Eddie. The first game it lacks a cohesive identity. If they would kind of just scrunched it up a little bit, it would be a lot better, I think. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah, so also started up. I am downloading the Final Fantasy VII demo.
Oh, the demo. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't going to play it because I want to play the full game, all 3 parts. I want to just play the whole episode. But I think to talk about it more and with other people, I'm going to play the demo and like kind of see what everybody feel about it. It's been really good. Good reports from a lot of people. So I'm really happy to see that. So I can't wait once it finally downloads, I'll start it up. I probably won't get to it until like Thursday or something. Or I might get it to Wednesday.
Is that a PlayStation only one?
Yes.
Launch. Yeah, at launch. Yeah.
No, I mean the
demo.
The demo.
The demo is a PlayStation only. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I thought the same thing originally. Like, when I heard about the demo, I was like, I've already got it pre-ordered. But part of me is thinking, I kind of want to check it out.
It shows a lot of confidence that the game is good, because they know that a demo could make people cancel pre-orders.
Yeah.
And they have a ton of pre-orders on this game.
Right, and the simple fact of the matter that this is such a polarizing game.
I know.
Like, if they screw this up, they're gonna shoot themselves in the foot. So,
from what I'm hearing, and I've heard a couple of people, like Eddie said, I heard nothing but good things. That they like the changes that were made, modernized it in a good way. So,
yeah, yeah, we'll see about that. So then that happened. Got the Division 2 on PlayStation 4. I already beat it on Xbox One, but I'm just like I said, it was only $3 or $4.
$3, I think. Yeah,
$3. So I just got it there. I haven't started it yet or anything. But also been playing Yakuza Kiwami. This is the remastered version of the Yakuza game. I beat the original one on PS2, and so I want to see what they offer with the PS4 version, like this kind of remake. So my goal is like to play that along with whatever else I'm playing. I'm trying to get I'm trying to start getting my PlayStation library down and out the way, because
Good
I'm
luck.
like I got exactly. I got a lot of games. Well, this is the weird thing. So, so of course, if people don't know, I host a show called Optional Opinion, and for the next show, I'm doing could Nintendo ever work with Sony again? And it's just like I always wonder in the future would Nintendo and Sony work together to bring like games, like Sony bringing games to Nintendo, or Nintendo like actually working with Sony to make some of their movies or like use some of their IPs. And I kind of wonder, just like have when the PlayStation deal went down in a way, that was an old Nintendo, and this is a new Nintendo, and it's kind of a new Sony also. So I wonder if they would come together to work. And so that's why I'm just like, I kind of want to see what Sony has.
Did Sony ever sign on to the whole? Because they were fighting the crossplay. Are they still fighting crossplay?
No.
Well,
Good.
I think they are, but developers just won't have it. Like,
Nice.
you know, they're like, because they need some of these
Yeah.
games need the player base.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, come on, let's, you know, and if you're playing Fortnite or something, why wouldn't you want to play it on anything?
Yeah, the shooter games are so like the market is so saturated anyway. that
Right.
If you get someone playing it, good. That it would actually be beneficial to get them all playing on no matter what console they're on.
Right.
So
Yeah, and that's why when that happened, everybody was just like, "Why is Nintendo Microsoft got it but not Sony?" Because definitely when Greg Miller had that problem with Fortnite, they couldn't understand why like Sony took so long to do it. And because Nintendo said it was open up to work with anybody, and work with developers on crossplay. So I think Nintendo and Sony probably could work in the future, but I don't know. So that's something I'm going to be discussing on that show later on. But yeah, Yakuza Kiwami, I love this game, and me and my friend, we were talking about it, and we were talking about how Yakuza 1 and 2 came out for Wii U in Japan, but not in America.
Right.
And it would have sold better in America than it would have in Japan, because everybody was just like, Sega, bring it here so we could play. Because a lot of people didn't play the Yakuza game, and a lot of people didn't get a chance to play to. So Wii U would have been the system that everybody would have bought it on.
I think Sega's been surprised, honestly, by Yakuza in the United States. Especially bringing it now to starting to bring it to Microsoft's consoles or bring it to Xbox.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. I mean, it's great. I have friends that play it constantly. I have one of my friends has bought me every one on PS4 that's been remastered. He just sends it every now and then. I get an Amazon package and it's another Yakuza game that I haven't even started yet. So I tell him, stop buying me Yakuza games because I'm never going to play all these at once. So I've got every one sitting up on the shelf, but he loves them. He's just like, you got to get into them and to play them because they're just fun games. So
They take about 2.5 weeks to beat.
Right.
Because they are long and the stories are long, but they are great action RPG open world beat 'em up games.
Right.
I want to put it as that.
Kind of like Sleeping Dogs, almost.
Yes. Oh, I love Sleeping Dogs so much.
I know, right? Michael, have you played Sleeping Dogs?
I have not.
Oh, that's
you have to play it.
You'd
Well,
love
like,
that game.
if I'm correct, isn't that like a Grand Theft Auto type game?
It's open world with Batman Arkham Asylum mechanics.
in Hong
Oh.
Kong. In Hong Kong,
Okay.
and you're a gang member. Actually, you're a cop undercover as a gang
Yes.
Okay,
And then
that
you start-
actually sounds
and then-
pretty damn interesting.
And then you start, then the story starts polling, like, you're making relationships with people, and you're actually kind of like, now you have to make some hard decisions,
it may be one of the best open world crime stories.
That was my first
ever.
platinum on PlayStation 3.
Nice.
It was my first platinum, and then I played it on Xbox 360, but I didn't finish it on Xbox 360. But
I beat it. Yeah, I beat it on 3. I have the remaster or the HD version of Xbox One.
Yep, I got that too.
Man, it's like the driving mechanics is good. There's actually a part where you don't drive, all you do is shoot. So the AI is actually driving for you instead of
when you hang out the window and aim for the tires. Yeah.
Yes.
That's pretty
like yeah.
And the story is really good. The story's I'm not going to ruin it for Michael, but the story's great. You got to play. It's like $4, $5.
Seriously?
In fact, it was free a bunch of times.
I'm not on any of the what are they called? The live pass or any of that stuff.
Right.
But still, that actually sounds pretty fucking interesting.
Yeah, it's so good.
Sleeping Dogs.
Yes.
Yeah, it's called Sleeping Dogs. Yep.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna write that down because I'm dumb and won't remember this conversation in 15 minutes.
Sorry, everybody. My microphone keeps falling. It's a heavier set microphone, so that's why it keeps falling. So that's what I'm doing with PlayStation 4. On Xbox One, last but not least, started up Control. I've been playing. Okay. Yeah, I've been playing the Division 2, trying to get ready for. I've been trying to do the Black Tusk thing, but I think I'm gonna play with somebody. So I gotta start matchmaking and inviting just random people. I'll be like, come do this mission with me and go from there. But started back up Control. It needs a map on screen.
I haven't played it yet. I have it, but I was gonna start that after I'm done with Jedi Fallen Order. So that was.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till I'll talk about it more once you start playing it.
Okay.
Josh.
Okay. It's coming up next. So, I mean, I love Remedy's games, so they're some of my favorite games. So I really do want to play it.
Yeah, because I think I finished something on Xbox, and I gotta look back to what I just finished. Because I knew that Control has been the game that I wanted to start back up. I think it's because I put Borderlands 3 on hold due to one boss. I was supposed to be jumping to Control, but I started playing Switch. But everybody, that's what we have been playing. When we come back, we're going to get into a really good discussion. I can't wait to have this discussion with you guys, and we'll be right back. And welcome back, everybody, to World 101 Podcast. And so now we're going to get into our deep dive discussion. So, I want to ask you guys, we know what's coming for Microsoft, and we've been excited and anticipating what they're going to show. We know some things for Nintendo, what they're going to hopefully come out, and we get excited for what they're going to show. What I want to ask you guys is, why do you think Sony is getting a lot of negative press and reactions from the community and fan base? Is it because a lot of stuff that we don't know, or is it because they have been too quiet and they're not willing to share anything? So, of course, we know PS5. Everybody is waiting to say something about that, but the more people want to know of how Sony is going to do, the more they're not saying nothing. Definitely the way they're not coming to E3, the way they decided to stop. They didn't want to go to GDC, which we can understand and everything. But why in this time Sony is receiving a lot of negative press, negative reaction from the community of gamers?
Who do you want to go first?
You do it, because I got to think about this one.
Yeah, this is a deep one.
Yeah, well, because I don't tend to follow a lot of the news like that, like this,
right?
Like you guys do. So,
well, the thing that I've noticed is just in general that Sony, first of all, really doesn't have a reason to hit that restart button on the console generation. Mm-hmm. You know, they're the top dog. They're selling a lot. I mean, sales have slowed down because of anticipation of the new. I mean, and we're at market saturation. I mean, you're over 100 and what, 15 million now or something like that, some crazy number. So, you know, pretty much everybody that wants one has one. And so, and I think gamers are fickle, and we always want to know, like we want to know what our, you know, people are, they're proud of their consoles, or they can only afford one, or they only really want one, and they don't want the Xbox, but they want the PlayStation, and the PlayStation's, you know, Sony's not saying anything. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I just think that in general, the general kind of consensus is they don't have to say anything until they're good and ready. So, I mean, I don't personally know why there's so much, you know, hate for it, or it's almost like a bated anticipation. And when people finally get the answers, I don't think they're going to be satisfied about it. They're going to want more, and they're only going to tell them a little bit at a time. And I thought, you know, we would at least hear some hard end specs, like right from Sony, and we haven't really. I mean, we heard some, but we didn't hear, you know.
Hadn't yet.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't heard much, and we haven't heard any, you know, there hasn't been any reveal event scheduled, and it's to their advantage to wait as close to E3 as possible, and especially with the fluctuating market, where, I mean, look, I've been hearing a lot of chatter online from a lot of different people, a lot smarter than me in production of things, and because of things happening elsewhere in the world, that they're saying that there's a good possibility right now that the next generation of consoles is going to be delayed. And if they get delayed into 2021, GameStop will go under right away, because they're just trying to hold out for that. And so I'm thinking they're holding on just because it's in so much flux right now that they just don't know. And they don't know the price, because the price changes every day, because they're competing for these parts.
I didn't realize they hadn't set that yet either.
No, I mean, everybody's guessing $500.
At this point, all I knew is that they had announced that they were kind of working on it. Like, beyond that, I hadn't heard anything concrete.
I mean, they announced that they're working on, that they said they have backwards compatibility for PlayStation 4, and they're working on other backwards compatibility. They haven't admitted to anything yet about what's going to be that. I mean, everybody knows it's going to be, you know, a 4K gaming machine.
Yeah.
Microsoft and Sony is going to be that. They're both going to have an optical drive. So we're still going to have that. We're not going to be streaming only or download only. Thank God for us that like collect stuff.
Yeah.
And
I know that's coming within the next probably 15 years, but man, I'm going to hate it.
My thing is, until the internet gets to a reliable space,
very much,
especially in the United States. I mean, I lived in a rural area for a long time. I had no internet until I moved away from there, and my family that lives there now, they just got DSL like a couple of years ago. And we're talking about DSL. We're not talking about, you know, 100 megabit connections. We're talking about 12 megabit connections, you know, where when I'm FaceTiming them, they're like cutting out. So it's like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Like, streaming Netflix is still not a thing. I mean, out where like my uncle lives, they still have family video stores because they don't have reliable internet. So they can't stream videos.
Well, to be fair, around here, family videos are just starting to go away right now.
Yeah, because a lot of people rely on it too, though. You know, it was a thing, you know.
And to be honest, I actually miss video stores. Like, I miss Blockbuster. Like, the concept of going in, the magic of just the wall of shit, you know?
Yeah.
But...
yeah. So, I mean, I think that's some of the biggest issues that Sony's facing right now. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think the big thing is you're right on the concept that people are fickle. Like, they're fickle, and there's a weird sense of entitlement.
It is
across that people will be like, no, this is what I want. I demand it now. I want to know. And, you know, like you said, Sony, they don't have to right now. And obviously, as I said, Sony kind of hasn't been playing well with others lately. So I think they're kind of keeping their cards close to their chest right now. Anyway, I think part of it maybe they're wanting to see what the other two companies do, and because obviously, like, they're going to try and follow suit like they did with the PlayStation Move and shit like that. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm a bad barometer on stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, I know like a lot of people. I like my brother, for example. I have a brother that he gets, Madden and Call of Duty every year, and that's all he plays. And he might be a Madden or a Call of Duty behind, so he's getting them cheaper. He's getting them like when the next
smart,
one comes out.
honestly,
He gets, I mean, and
That's
he
really
might be
smart.
2 or 3 years he'll get the console, so he doesn't care when it comes out or how much it is because he's not going to buy it at launch anyway.
I got a friend. I got a friend that's like that. He just got a PS3 maybe half a year ago.
Right.
And he had never had a PS2, never had a PS1. He was, classic plastic all the way.
Sure.
Like the Super Nintendo, and he's the one. He actually had a Jaguar just in his garage because he found it at a garage sale. It's the only time I've ever seen an Atari Jaguar. They didn't have any games for it, so
It's actually worth something if he still has it.
nope. He one day literally sold everything.
Yeah, some people are like that,
Yeah, well, he as I said, he was the type of person that he would collect all this stuff. He didn't he just kind of hoarded it.
Right.
And every time he'd go to garage sale, he'd just give me everything you got. So it got to the point to where he had me kind of helping him organize it. He had, I think it was 76 the original classic Nintendos. We don't know if all of them worked. He had somewhere around 48 Super Nintendos, somewhere around 50 Sega Genesis of all different styles. Just all that stuff. He just, as I said, he collected it. Half of it, he wasn't even sure if it worked.
Wow.
Yeah. And as I said, he hoarded all this stuff for so long. He had a lay-down freezer at one point, one of the big lay-down freezers.
Yeah.
It didn't work anymore. So he used it as storage. It was filled with nothing but classic Nintendo games. And I mean, I'm talking bricked, packed, full of classic Nintendo games. And as I said, eventually, just one day, he kind of just got fed up and tried to take it all into Michiana Used out here. And they're like, well, we need time to look through it all. And he just nope, don't care. And
Right.
So I think he literally took pennies on the dollar for all of it.
Sure, just to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think for right now with Sony, I think Sony, people want Sony to talk. They want to say something about it, because if Sony loses that momentum, it's going to be too late. Even though they might bring in the news and people might talk about them, the interest in it is going to be too late, because Nintendo and Microsoft and even PC may have that interest taken away from them. Their state of plays, regardless of how you look at them, haven't been hitting just the right spot where people are looking for a state of play. People will check it out to see what's getting announced, but Sony had some belief in that state of play would be able to keep their players and their fan base informed, and it kind of hasn't panned out that well for them. Not saying they're all bad, but they're decent. They're decent enough for people to be like, okay, that's some interest in that game, move on, and no one talks about it. Where a Nintendo Direct will last for a week and a half, that people are revisiting reactions, people are talking about it, planning on what games they're going to get. Microsoft having Inside Xbox said whenever they decide to announce that, people are looking forward to what they have to say and what deals are going on. People don't want Sony to get that idea they had with PlayStation 3.
Oh yeah, that hubris that they had where
Yeah.
Hey, if you don't want it, just get a second job,
What?
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
Well, when PlayStation 3 was announced, it was announced at $600, right?
I vaguely remember that.
And people were angry, and he's like, well, if you can't afford it, just get another job. There was one of their execs said that,
Yeah.
Wow.
So you're like, it was almost like the Don Matrick, 2013 Xbox deal. But it was very interesting. I also think, Eddie, I think you're hitting it right. But I also think that Sony or Nintendo and Microsoft have gotten their audience used to the way that they do things. Like Nintendo, we know we're getting a direct. Nintendo doesn't have these usually huge conferences. Everybody knows it. Microsoft still has the huge conference, but they have the Xbox, whatever that Xbox show they do every now and then. I can't remember what it's called now. But they do that at like, what is it, quarterly or something like that?
Yeah.
And then Sony is now trying to roll out this state of play, and I think you're right that people don't really like what they see from that right away. So, and part of it is because, I mean, look at all the great games we got from Sony. They just don't have anything right now to show. So why would they be showing games for PlayStation 5? Because that's what they have. I mean, right?
Yeah, it just feels weird that Sony don't have any more cutscenes to show. They never show real gameplay.
Well, they're pulling out of everything where they can show it. So they're not coming to E3. They're not doing this.
Which I don't think. Which, firstly, for me, I don't care that they're not showing at E3 because there's just more cutscenes they're going to show for a game. Show me what the actual game is going to be. But that speaks to a lot of things at E3, where when PC gaming is outdoing your shows or even your state of play, that's the problem. You know, if you're leading something, you want to show what people are actually getting. Over time, we all could deal with patches. We all could deal with delays. We all could deal with stuff that feels like it's in the beta. But if you work hard to get more content out and make the game better, people who are committed will stick around with it.
Yeah.
Sony, and I'm just saying this. This is from America's perspective. This is not from the UK perspective or Japanese perspective, because each territory thinks of Sony in a different way. I just want to say that. I think here in America, most of us, yes, we ran to Sony because of the used game debate. There's no denying that. What Microsoft was going to do with used games versus what Sony was doing, with used games. That won people over. But over time, Microsoft have worked hard to change people's minds. So more people are going to Microsoft, but somewhat playing some games on Sony. People have moved away from Sony and went to Nintendo or went to PC. Stadia is another discussion to have on at another time. But Sony was at its point, but because they're not saying nothing or they're not showing nothing, just because you had a good library of first party titles doesn't mean that that's going to keep people staying around. As crazy as that may say, people are still going to Nintendo and playing Breath of the Wild. People are still playing Smash, Splatoon. People are still playing Super Mario Brothers. There's still levels of Mario Maker 3 coming out. People are picking up Astral Chain. People are still playing Fire Emblem for the third or fourth time. People are still playing a lot of Nintendo's first party ever since that the system been out since 3 years.
Right.
And even if a sale go on, people may show interest. People laugh at The Witcher 3 on Switch, but yet people are still buying that game and people are still playing it, even though it's been on other consoles and stuff. So there's something to say about Sony that, yeah, you got great first party titles, but what's really keeping people there? Bloodborne? That's one game versus the 10 plus some titles I just said for Switch. And
to
go
be
ahead.
fair though, Nintendo, like, they've had their collection of characters and what are they, like, IPs, for a while. So that's
right.
just name recognition. Whereas, to be fair, on like Xbox and Sony both don't really have nearly as massive an amount of IPs that are theirs alone.
Right.
Like, I know they have them, but like, for instance, Sony, the only one I can think of is God of War. That's because
a lot of them are dormant franchises.
Yeah.
Even for Xbox, like Xbox bought Rare, and they've really not used that like a lot of their IP. So it would be interesting to see some of these IP come back. But Nintendo's in a whole other boat because they got the nostalgia. I mean, they can sell consoles just on nostalgia alone. They could just launch a console and people will buy it.
Right.
You know?
Well, plus the concept that like Nintendo kind of functions on the concept they could literally wipe their ass and write like, you know, Super Mario on it, and people are gonna pay money for it. They
Right.
could,
But
you know,
also,
if they could blow their nose and write Zelda on it, people are gonna throw money at it.
But-
Metroid, all of those.
but
you know?
but Nintendo always, like I keep saying, Nintendo tries to be innovative. You know,
Right.
yes, they got a well-known franchise and stuff, but they always try to do something different with their system. And when they have finally released word on their system, stuff starts to get announced. They know how to roll it out, and people get more interest in that. Whereas Sony is still feel like they're playing it safe. Yes, they are watching what Nintendo and Microsoft doing, but that seems more curious. Are you watching what they do to copy, or are you watching them to see what you could do to outperform them, or just say that you got it, but not really to that level of what they're doing?
Probably
You know,
all of it. Like, you know, as
like
I said, it's probably a little bit of all of it, because from a marketing standpoint, it makes sense for them to observe what's going on,
mhm.
see how can we put this on what we're doing, because obviously they can't mimic like the Wii. They couldn't mimic the perfect the motion controls,
Right.
Yeah.
even though like because PlayStation Move wasn't nearly as good, you know, and all the I guess you can call gimmicks that Nintendo does, you know, they try and it just doesn't really work because I don't know, it just is what it is, I guess. But
Well, it's not that they try. I feel like third party, in a sense, don't know how to innovate because they've been stuck doing the same thing that's been making them money.
yeah, that's actually
So,
the point.
so when you're not trying to innovate and actually learn to do something, yes, you're supposed to put out some products that might fail. But look at the reviews. Look what people are saying to be like, okay, they like this and we could get this better. So let's continue to work on it because, like I said before, third party was crapping on Nintendo, but Nintendo was keeping them afloat.
Mhm.
Versus Sony and Microsoft putting their game out on that system, and you might have a chance of getting your studio closed. Like,
Yeah.
Square Enix is a good example of that. They weren't putting their stuff on Nintendo, even though they had a good relationship. A lot of their stuff was not hitting well, or even Capcom was not hitting well on the other platforms. They started putting their stuff on Nintendo and started seeing money roll in
Yeah.
month by month.
Well, to be fair, Capcom has been kind of shooting themselves in the foot professionally for the last decade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're coming back. I mean, in a big
But
way.
yeah,
In
Yeah.
a good way too, especially with the Resident Evil stuff they're doing.
The
And
Devil May Cry was
Devil
actually
May
good.
Cry.
Yeah.
They've learned from their mistakes, and they learned rather quickly.
Yeah.
and,
Well, as I
and
said,
they-
like, because I was pretty much done after the Tekken X Street Fighter, or Street Fighter X
Yeah.
Tekken, I mean.
yeah,
The fiasco, the all the shit was on the disc already. And then, like, as I said, like, as much as I love the Street Fighter series, when I found out that the new Street Fighter was bare bones when it first came out, and then you had to pay for everything else, it's like, no, I'm out. I'm not interested.
Right.
But
yeah.
and then I found out fucking Tekken's doing the same shit because the universe hates me.
Yeah, and it's just weird to see Sony in this position because I'm not saying a lot of us who view Sony, we don't want them to lose,
No.
but we want them to speak. We want them to say something because yes, you are going in this next generation with PS5 whenever it comes out. You're probably going to have a great library of ported games, of new games, and third party. But you gotta speak now because if everybody is listening to Nintendo and Microsoft talk, by the time you get to Tokyo Game Show, if you have not said nothing yet, people are going to get even more mad, and that might decrease sales in your system.
I'm going to tell you something about these new consoles. They're going to sell a lot. They're going to sell less, at least
Yeah.
at first, because there is no reason really. I mean, I'm completely happy with the console I have. They have to really sell me on the new one, especially if it's backwards compatible.
Right.
Because I'm like, my Xbox One X, for example, if they're not going to come up with exclusives for that until, a year and a half down the road, what's the incentive for me to upgrade now? There probably isn't one. And Microsoft's done a great job with like Game Pass, getting us off onto a subscription kind of service. So, I mean, I think
Project
Sony
xCloud.
Yeah. And Project xCloud, I wish I can get into that beta because I have a friend who's in there and he's playing it all the time and he loves it. So I'm like, okay.
Because I feel like this ray tracing, probably save states may get people interested, but the PC community knew about that years ago. People who were mining their systems knew about that years ago. 4K 60 frames per second is not doing it because you stated out the box that this thing will have run 4K 60 frames per second, but Sony, you gotta checkerboard it, so you gotta fake it. Microsoft, you have to choose between each one of it.
Right.
But X.
And then look at Nintendo. They don't even care.
They don't care because they know
they don't need to.
And it's not that they don't care. They know that if it's an art style that really brings you in, that you can appreciate and respect, and years later that art style still looks good and impressive, they have already done their job, for it. Stadia haven't given you 4K 60 frames per second or anything like that. But like I said, with these next consoles, with Xbox and with Sony, Digital Foundry is going to be big when they do their research, because they're going to show if that game is running at 4K 60 frames per second. They're going to show when stuff drops. They really are going to hold Microsoft and Sony to task with that. If you are promising and using this tech talk to sell systems and stuff, definitely for Sony, if they're using this stuff to sell it and it's not coming out, it shouldn't take a year for people to recognize to get that running on that console.
Yeah.
They really, and so that's why they need to speak now. They don't really have to show off the system. They don't really have to showing off a game would be nice, or even getting an announcement would be nice. State of play right now. If Nintendo doesn't do a Nintendo Direct, Sony needs to take the advantage of state of play. Besides just showing The Last of Us 2. They really need to take it and really build some hype, because if they don't build it and it comes too late, everybody is not going to care, or some people will not care. It would give podcasters like us news to talk about, but when we talk about that news and move on, how impactful was it that news that Sony delivered?
How much information is actually out for the new Xbox system?
They just released some.
They just released some today.
Really?
Last week.
Last week, but I mean, they're really starting to get into them now, and some of the tech specs are pretty impressive, actually.
Really?
So, but I mean, they're PCs. We all know they're PCs.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe that's honestly, Sony maybe just doesn't have anything too actually concrete yet. Because it's still very early.
The thing is, you look at manufacturing processes, they have to be very close, if not already, manufacturing this console.
Yeah.
Because to do a worldwide launch like they did with the PlayStation 4, and Xbox One did the same thing, they have to allocate so many units to every country, for example, right? So, the United States is going to be their biggest market, and so they're going to want to allocate the most units here. Now, I know Xbox had this problem last generation where, because when they make silicon, not every wafer of silicon is compatible to use. It might be a higher quality, a lower quality. So, and they're competing with cell phone manufacturers. A lot of them are using the same RAM, the same processes that are going into this. They're competing with Apple, with Google, with whoever is making these other stuff. So, I have a feeling that they're making them, and they're already, they're making them already. I think both are, I think the tech specs are pretty much solidified. I mean, they almost have to be.
I thought the design of the new Xbox wasn't even set in stone yet. Like, I think I saw a picture where it kind of looks like a weird tower.
Yeah, that was their review at a reveal at the Game Awards. They revealed what the box looked like.
Yeah.
And I bet you anything, it's pretty heavy too.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And
Now they haven't done anything like that with the new Sony thing, right?
No. There's
uh-uh.
there's a fake sizzle reel out there that actually is really awesome. And it was like, you know what, if that was it, everybody would be happy.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's going to be a box that sits on my TV.
Yeah.
By my TV. That's cool.
It'll probably be able to stand or lay down.
Yeah, exactly, right?
You know, there'll be some weird, like, because for instance, the PS3 had the Spider-Man font and shit like that.
Yeah.
It'll be something like that. It'll be streamlined. It'll look basically like a sleek race car that plays video games.
Yeah.
So-
And I mean, it is about the games for both
Yeah.
systems. So I don't know. I mean, I kind of disagree with Eddie a little bit. I don't think Sony has to say anything because we can bitch and bitch and bitch, but if they
Gotta
come,
buy it.
3 months from now, if they decide to come forward, or 4 months from now, everybody's going to be hype, and
Yeah.
everyone the past is forgiven, and
Yeah.
people will be lining up to pre-order it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
never
they-
buy a system at launch because every time I see all my friends buy some launch systems, and there's always colossal bugs.
Problems, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a firmware fix, or there's a, and now, I mean, thank God we can do that now. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, before, you used to be able to buy stuff, I think, at launch and be a little more confident it was going to work. Like a PS2 or whatever. You knew it was going to work.
Do you remember, the worst part about this is, remember when we were younger and they would announce the new system and show it off, and there was a drastic difference in the graphics?
Yeah. I was
miss
thinking of that. I was
Yeah.
thinking of that because, like, when you have the conversation between Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft,
Mhm.
and Nintendo is the fastest. It's one of the fastest selling console right now. I mean, they're selling more Switches than anything.
Mhm. It's the
and it's
weakest
not-
system, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's not
Yeah.
always about the. It's not always about the graphics. It's about the art style now.
Yeah.
I remember when you used to go from the regular Nintendo to Super Nintendo, the biggest selling point was, wow, these games look so good. It ain't going to get any better than this, boys. We're
Yeah.
playing Super Nintendo games now, I mean, and then computer was the same way back in the day. It was,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember we would buy computer games, and it would be like one to the next. It was like doubling, graphics power or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
and that's just not the case anymore.
No.
Now it's all about frames per second for fluidity, which I get. I mean, I never used to be that like 60 frame per second until I started seeing games at 60 frames per second. I'm like, this is buttery smooth. This is really nice. So that's kind of like where I'm at with that stuff. But yeah, I remember that. I miss those days where all we cared about was how many bits it was.
Yeah. Yeah. I said it was fucking awesome back then because there was a visible difference.
Yeah.
Because now, now in order to notice a visible difference, you have to have the 4K smart TV. You have to have the sound system for it.
And you need Digital Foundry to tell you, because some people I don't have a 4K TV, and I'm telling you, I can't tell the difference 4K image on this thing to a 4K image on my 4K TV. I'm like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't notice it. And maybe it's just because the games for the console really aren't taking advantage of it yet.
I could see that.
And maybe the next generation will really make that difference. I don't know.
I don't think so. At least not at first.
Right.
I think at first it's going to be still towing the line of where we're at, but trying to push it further and further. But it'll be increments. It won't be leaps and bounds.
Right. I think things will run faster.
Yeah.
Games will run better. And so it'll be funner that way. But other than that, I don't know. I don't really know either. That's what I said. They got a lot to they got to really convince me to buy a new console right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see a company take the amount of power that these current gen systems have and give me a sprite-based game with all of that.
Yeah.
Like I want to see a Secret of Mana style game that uses all of that, like processing power, that uses all of that space, you know?
Yeah.
Like something like that. Just, oh my god. New Chrono Trigger or something.
Right. So, but that's going to be the show, everybody. Once again, thank you for listening to the podcast. You can check us more at podbean.com for World 1-1 podcast. Usually Larry does all the plugging. You guys can follow us on Twitter at World1_1. You can check out the Twitch page, World 1-1 podcast. I believe that's it for Twitch.
Yes.
So everybody have a great week. Have a great weekend. Once again, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Josh. We kind of want to know what you guys think about it. You could let us know on our Facebook page, community page. We want to know why you think people are reacting negative against Sony. We would love to hear what your guys' feedback, and even hit us on Twitter at World1_1 with your responses. With that, everybody, we will see you next time on World 1-1 podcast. Bye.
See ya.
Toodles.
You know what? We never even mentioned this, but the real reason people hate on Sony is because they're the king.